So, what's going on guys? I am BlackOpsAmazing. Welcome back to another zombies video on the channel, back with another Q&A, the series where I take your questions from the comment section below to do with the zombie storyline, Easter eggs, and I answer them. As always, if there's anything that you want to know, leave it down below. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest zombies videos on the channel. Drop a like rating by the end if you enjoy, but let's get into it. Here we go. So the first question of the day says, what happened to Maxis after he destroyed Buried? Well, if we go back to that map, we know, as I've said many times now, by the end of that Easter egg, Maxis ended up taking full control of the zombies. He overthrew Richtofen, took his place. He then trapped Richtofen's soul inside of a zombie and revealed to the transit crew his true intentions, which was to destroy Earth and everyone on it, including the Victor's crew. And so 9 days later, that's exactly what Maxis would do. But we know just before that, Victus managed to escape Buried because Richtofen opened up a portal for them, sending them on a journey to collect the Cornorium. So even though Maxis did destroy Buried, he destroyed Earth and everyone on it, Victus managed to escape just before. But as you say in your question, well, what happened to Maxis after all of this happened? After Earth was destroyed, what happened to this version of Maxis? And that we don't know, because we then switched dimensions over to Dimension 63, Origins, and our whole timeline with Buried isn't continued. We aren't told anywhere, not even in the Cornorium, what happens after. Clearly our map locations are destroyed, everyone on Earth is killed, but Maxis would have carried on living, and so what would he have done now that he had full control, he had power, but the Earth, in this dimension at least, was no more? The story of this version of Maxis is never continued. We then go to Origins where we see another one, but what happened to this specific version, we don't know. Did he carry on living? Would he have eventually died out? If he was still alive, because I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be, what he would be doing, that's a difficult question to answer. I don't know, let me know your thoughts about this one in the comment section below. The next question from Luke says, since the Apothecans destroyed Dimension 63, does that mean they destroyed other maps as well, or just Shadows of Evil? So kind of similar to the last one. By the end of the Easter egg on that map, we know the characters accidentally released the Apothecans and gave them access to Dimension 63. In that Easter egg, the Shadow Man was tricking them into doing what he was saying. They thought he was good. He told them to collect the souls inside of the key and then hand it over to them. And although eventually they realized he was evil, by then it was too late. They had released the Apothecans onto Dimension 63, and similar to Maxis' situation, a day later, they destroyed it. However, unlike that one, this time the Shadows of Evil characters were trapped here. There was no way for them to escape, and so they were killed. But because the Apothecans destroyed a whole dimension, not just a planet, surely that means they destroyed other places as well, and one of those is Origins. Origins also takes place in Dimension 63. We know in that map we had Samantha, who was trapped in Argotha. She travelled there from Buried. We also had another version of Maxis, Primis Richtofen. That's also where Primis, Nikolai, Takeo and Dempsey met up. But if the Apothecans destroyed Origins as well, they didn't kill those characters, because we know Dr. Maxis was put into the Maxis drone and then sent to the house, so he escaped. It was the same with Samantha, and the Primis versions of our characters escaped as well. So whilst the Apothecans did destroy Origins, our characters managed to escape before. And as for any other maps taking place in this dimension, well, there isn't any. Dreisendrache takes place in the Decepto Fracture, Zetsubono Shima is in the Protoktone Fracture, Gorod Karovi takes place in the Angonia Fracture, and Revelations is in Argotha. The only one I have doubts about is Mob of the Dead, or I suppose you could even include Blood of the Dead, but we see that doesn't get destroyed. And even though I'm pretty sure it is in Dimension 63, it is also in Purgatory, so how that works I'm not too sure, but clearly it isn't affected. The only maps that would have been destroyed by the Apothecans are one of which we know is Shadows of Evil, and the other is Origins. XX Pro Donor XX Gaming says, in transit, why can you see Nakda and Toten from World at War Zombies in the cornfield? Now this is a question that I've been wanting an answer to for a very long time, since we first discovered this in transit back in, what was it, 2012, Black Ops 2 I think it was. But still to this day we don't have an official answer. The Cornorium doesn't tell us, no quotes in game, there are no Easter eggs, there is literally nothing. So all we have is theories. We know the original Nacht der Untoten takes place in Nazi Germany in an abandoned airfield, where we played as 4 unknown Marines. Still to this day we don't know who they were, but we know the story for it goes, and it's a very short one. A plane was flying over the airfield where it malfunctioned and crash landed into a German truck that was transporting the undead and Element 115 between Group 935 facilities. This caused zombies to awaken in the area, leaving these 4 Marine survivors to hold out in a nearby building. That building is Nacht der Untoten. So it was originally a part of an abandoned airfield in Nazi Germany, but clearly the one we see in transit is not a part of Germany. Also, it's in a totally different time. It is in a cornfield. It looks slightly different on the inside as well. The same objects are not where they should be. And so the big question has always been, why is Nacht der Untoten in transit? Now, one theory I and a lot of people have always had is this was kind of a prototype. It was built back in the 40s by the Americans to replicate the one in Germany. Why they would want to do this, I'm not too sure, but that's just been a theory that's been going around for a long time. When you think about it, it doesn't really make too much sense. I think the most sensible option is this has something to do with the fracturing of our universes and Element 115 displacement. Similar to Buried, how an old western town was teleported from the 1800s to the year 2025 in Angola. I think the same could have happened to Nacht der Untoten. Because of our characters teleporting, using time travel, opening up rifts, and the fracturing of our timeline, our universes, things seem to have merged, and that could explain how Nacht der Untoten has not only teleported further into the future, but has also changed location. The same goes for the plane in Mob of the Dead, how we see it in different areas, places where it shouldn't be. That is all down to the fracturing of the universe. Other than that, I can't really think of any explanation. Like I said, the Americans building one for themselves doesn't really make too much sense. Why would they have done that? You could say so they could learn the layout or give them a better advantage of infiltrating the real one, but the original Nacht facility was never really used for anything important anyway. It was just a part of an abandoned airfield. So yeah, again, let me know your thoughts about this one in the comment section below. The next question from Antonio says, hi BOA, what would have been your ending? So if I was a Treyarch employee, if I was making this game, if it was up to me to decide the ending to zombies, how would it play out? Well, that's harder for me to answer than you would think, because I want the game to carry on. I want zombies to continue after DLC 4, so I suppose you could say maybe my ending would be a little bit more fairy tale than what would actually make sense. But the way that we believe it is going to end is kind of how I would do it as well. Since Maxis has told us that once Argotha and the Ether is destroyed, our timeline will reset, the universe will start over again. That should mean everything starts from the beginning. That's not too far from what I would do, but my perfect ending to zombies would be us killing Dr. Monty, destroying Argotha, the Ether, meaning there are no zombies left, allowing our characters to live in peace. But we know that's not quite how it's going to go down, so if our universe is resetting, I would love to see our characters of Richtof and Takio, Nikolai and Dempsey growing up and seeing how they change in a world that's not now filled with zombies. We know their personalities have been altered because of their effects to Element 115, but once everything starts over again and that no longer exists, I'd actually like to see at the end of all of this a cutscene just showing our characters growing up. If we were to get more zombies maps after DLC 4, I'd love to play as these characters in their teen years, maybe 18, 19, early 20s. I'd also love to see them older in their 70s or 80s, how they would look then. I'd just like to see a cutscene of them progressing, growing up, and how their lives turn out. And you know what? The perfect ending for me would be if the characters all got their wish. We know, Nikolai especially, his wish since the beginning has been to return to his family, his old life, his home. I'd like to see that happen to our characters. Nikolai go back to his wife, Dempsey and his daughters, Takio go back to his homeland, and as for Richtofen, well, we don't really know what family he had. His parents died, so as to what would happen to him, I'm not too sure. I'd just like to see a happy ending for all of these characters. Not only them, but the Victor's crew, the Call of the Dead crew, every character that we've played as in Zombies. And then, as you all know, I want the zombie storyline to continue. I do want the Ether story to carry on, but not with Richtofen and the crew, with a whole new set of characters. Possibly it can be Element 115 again, that causes the zombie outbreak, but this time without the influence of Dr. Monty. Maybe they could carry on the Ether story after the cycle is broken, just with a new set of characters, and they can find a new way for the zombie outbreak to begin without 115 this time. I don't know, you could say that kind of is the Chaos storyline, but it isn't because they're not connected. I want this storyline to continue, I want it to be connected to the Ether storyline, no involvement of Monty, and if they could find a way to do it without element 115, which I think will be difficult, possibly it could come back, or maybe there's a meteor left of it on Earth that they uncover. I don't know, but a happy ending for all of the characters would be my ideal situation. Let me know yours again in the comment section below. I'd be really interested to see how you'd like the zombie storyline to finish, and also how you would like it to carry on in the next game. That's if you even do, or do you want it just to end here and then carry on with Chaos? So anyway guys, there we go, that is it, that is all for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do, drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel, and until next time, goodbye.